Hello and welcome to Crucible of Words for more dedicated legacy action. We've got Edge of Eternity cards ready to play now, and I would be remiss if I did not play the poster boy from the set, Tezzeret, Cruel Captain. This is a 3-mana planeswalker, comes with 4 counters, only gets counters from playing artifacts, but our deck's going to be doing that an awful lot. It can tutor up 1-drop artifacts and 0-drop artifacts. It can untap artifacts, it can put counters on artifact creatures, and then it can pop an emblem to give you +3 power return, either turning your artifacts into creatures or increasing their size. So, slotting it into the old Mystic Forge shell makes a lot of sense, and this particular list has already managed to top 8 a challenge. So clearly, the card is pretty strong, and the deck is pretty strong. I think Mystic Forge is actually one of the best decks in Legacy right now. In case you're unfamiliar with how this deck works, it's a big mana deck, really, where we're using like Grim Monolith alongside keys, and obviously Tezzeret to untap and get a bunch of mana. And then we've got lands that can power out spells ahead of curves. So Ancient Tomb, Planar Nexus comboing with Urza's Tower, so this can tap for 3 mana on turn 2, giving us the 4 mana for like the One Ring, or Karn, or Mystic Forge, and these things just get out of hand and win the game pretty quickly. Urza's Workshop can tap for a bunch of mana if we have Metalcraft and some of these Urza lands. And then we're just spamming out a little bunch of artifacts. Glaring Fleshraker is our kill condition, but quite often we can just go and get something like a Lattice with Karn and just lock the game out. Drawing our entire deck is pretty reasonable here. We can get the Paradox Engine, and then if we have One Ring, Paradox Engine, that is your whole deck in your hand, because every time you cast a spell, you get to draw an increasing number of cards, and it just pops off. Honestly, not really much more to say about this deck. It's a very known quantity, and obviously we're trying to see if this card improves it, or if it's just, fine in those slots. We are going slightly down on keys, so normally you'd see more keys than this. Like 7 keys is quite a common amount, but we're cutting down on our number of keys here, and we're also cutting down on the Basalt Monolith as well, and we're just squeezing these Tezzerets. Sideboard, we got some graveyard hate. We got Perilous Snare, we can grab this with Karn and just get rid of a problem permanent for us. Dismember to kill some creatures. Paradox Engine is part of our Karn board, along with the Mystic Forge, so we can go and grab a card of our Edge Engine if we need it. Ensnaring Bridge to sit behind. Liquimetal Coating to strip away our opponent's permanents. Disruptor Flute was a generic interaction piece for pretty much everything. Another Pithing Needle, Tormod Crypt for graveyards, and obviously the Lattice we already mentioned. That's the deck. Let's see how Tezzeret Cruel Captain feels in the wild. Like, subscribe, and that way you won't miss any of my content with the new cards, which you would hopefully like to see. And if you'd like to buy any new cards, check out the link in my description. 3-for-1 trading. They support the Legacy community by sponsoring myself and others, and they've got a really deep inventory, so why not check them out. Okay, let's do some Mystic Forging. For the best Eternal experience this summer, check out Eternal Mania in Hasselt, Belgium from August 8th to 10th. Aside from hosting the European Legacy Masters, they have a whole host of other tournaments from team trios to old school and pre-modern. I will be there playing Legacy and hanging out as a special guest. This will also be the first event that I'll be giving out my own special Marit Lage tokens, so why not come down to enjoy an awesome weekend ran by one of the best TOs in Europe. This hand is pretty reasonable. We can keep this one. So we can power out a Fleshraker on turn 1 if we want. Or we can power out a turn 2 One Ring. We don't necessarily get to do both though. Ancient Tomb from our opponent. You're going to play a Magus of the Moon. Sure, that's not terrible against us by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we can overcome it. So it doesn't really matter what land we play, they're all mountains. I think we will play out this Lotus Petal because our opponent could put a Chalice on 0. Because they're not going to put Chalice on 1 against an Ancient Tomb deck. Alright, they've got another mountain over there. They're probably going to bash us for 2. No follow-up threat is good news for us. Like, if we have enough time in this game, we will win it. I guess we get the Planar Nexus in and just work out, because we might be able to kill this Magus. I think we just wait a turn and just drop the One Ring, and that should win the game, one way or the other. Alright, just an attack with the Magus and nothing else. Okay. I think I'm just going to play the One Ring. We have the Grim Monolith that allows us to play the Fleshraker next turn. Start drawing cards. This should overcome most of the things our opponent can achieve. They have their own copies of the One Ring, and they have ways of punishing our life total. Another Blood Moon. Okay, so we're not going to Kozilek's command to unlock any of these lands. That's okay with me. Okay, so what do we have here? So we can go 4 mana, play this, go up to 5 mana. Doesn't really get us where we need to be, is it? We could just play the Karn, start ticking up and giving our opponent more things to worry about. Or we could play out the Mystic Forge and then see if we rip anything sweet off the top. I quite like that. A Grim Monolith. Okay, so next turn's going to be a good one. Excellent. So we're going to take a hit from the Magus this turn. We don't want to see any hasty creatures like Bombardiers. That could do quite a bit of damage to us this turn if they have it. Alright, we can also beat their One Ring quite easily because of Karn. We can just stop it from activating. Yeah, you just don't seem to have anything going on over there. A Manifold Key, very happy to see those. Okay, I guess we play out any old land. Play out a Grim Monolith. We tap it, we get ourselves a Fleshraker. And we'll cast this Manifold Key from the top of our library. We'll always yield to this Fleshraker. I'll untap this Grim Monolith. We will play a key. We'll play a Grim Monolith. What do we want here, really? But what do we want to do here? We could just do a big-ish Kozilek's command. That seems like it'll probably win us the game, one way or the other. Alright, let's untap this. We want to be a little bit careful with our life total because our opponent might be able to burst us down if things go a little bit awry for us. So let's just do this. Not the largest Kozilek's command, but we might be able to chain it into another one, and that's fine too. Okay, we don't need any lands, so these can all go on the bottom. A Mox Opal is free, so may as well leave that on top. And our opponent scooped it up. I don't blame them. Okay, what is our opponent doing? And what do we care about? Do we care about any of these things? Like, we're not bringing the Leylines. This is our Karn board, so we're probably not really tinkering with this. The only thing we might want to try and do stuff with is a Dismember. Some of their guys are going to be worth dismembering, so we should probably think about that. I think the cut here might actually be the Tezzeret. Like, Pithing Needle, we don't need two Pithing Needles, actually. We can take out one, and we can take out a Soul Guide Lantern. So we want one Pithing Needle that we can fetch with an Urza's Saga, because that way we can name Broadside Bombardiers, which is one of the ways they can burst us out and kill us. So we just have a couple of Dismembers, we can blow up some Bombardiers, or maybe the Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, so they can't copy Pyroglyphs, or, you know, maybe we can just kill Pyroglyph. What does this hand do? We can make a turn 1 Fleshraker, which isn't actually that exciting. I'll keep this, though. We can make a turn 2 One Ring, which is very exciting. We probably need to play out our Petals. Disruptor Flute. They name the One Ring, I guess. That's the most powerful card in our deck. Grim Monolith. Yeah, that's also a pretty good shout. This isn't going to shut off their own thing. They're going to shut off all of our little Lotus Petals. Now, the Lotus Petals still work underneath our Fleshraker. So I think the play here is play the Tower out. So the Lotus Petals will get countered by the Chalice, but they'll still trigger the Fleshraker because this is a cast trigger. So we will get the mana from it. And Colourless mana is actually more useful than Coloured mana in this matchup. Although, if they can land a Blood Moon this turn and stop us being able to get Colourless mana very easily for this Fleshraker, we're going to be in trouble. Now, how are we going to get Colourless mana if we don't get this Fleshraker up and running? Shadow Skull. It's a Fable. Okay, so we've dodged the Magus. I think we're okay now. So let's go for the Fleshraker now. Pass Lotus Petal. Yield to this. Pass Lotus Petal. Am I going to play out this Manifold, this Voltaic Key? I don't know. If we play out the Voltaic Key, it does cost us one of our Colourless Eldrazi Spawn tokens if we want a maximum amount of Colourless mana next turn. But casting it now or casting it next turn is kind of the same thing. It's basically just a free spell, so I don't... The only reason we cast it now is to get round another Chalice. But that can play into Artifact Hate, but this will be our only artifact in play, so I think that's fine. We'll just replace that, and this way we're playing around a Chalice on 1 that our opponent could still drop on us. Alright, let's see how much looting they do. They're already at 10 life between this Fleshraker and their Ancient Tomb. There's going 2 cards. One of them is an answer to our Fleshraker, which makes me think they have another answer, or they just don't have the mana to utilize this. It's a Broadside Bombardiers. So this can come in and they can throw something at our Fleshraker. Probably the Chalice, because it's already done its job. It's put these 2 Lotus Petals in the bin. That's still reasonable. I don't think they're going to want to get rid of a Grim Monolith. Right, so this is going to throw... They could throw the Treasure Token as well. That might be better than the Chalice here. Oh, they're adding red mana. Oh, they're going to cast Dead on our creature. An aptly named spell, for sure. Alright, are they going to throw anything at our face? They could have just thrown that treasure with a Broadside Bombardier, so it does make me think they want to Aha. This is what they want to do. So they're going to Fury away our Eldrazi spawn tokens. And then they're going to throw this at our face for 7. That's a lot of damages. Alright. We need our One Ring to do a lot of work for us. Which of these lands is the correct land to play? Are we making big guys? I don't think we are making big guys. Are we going to get enough time for this to get us another key? I'm also not sure about that either. I think we want big mana, so we're going to play the workshop here. And then we're going to go a little bit low. This will put us to 4 on our next turn, but we basically have to win on the next turn. But that's okay. I will take a card. A useless Lotus Petal. So we're not in a situation where we might be able to suddenly cheese our opponent by attacking with a One Ring, which is something you can sometimes do with this deck. Alright, so there's no point for them attacking here. So we've got 1 turn. Oh, there is a point for them attacking. They get this, but not attacking with anything that matters for us. This treasure token, they've got 1 card left in hand, but they don't need anything else. Their board is sufficient to beat us. Oh, they're going lower though. Sundering Eruption. We don't have a basic to fetch. That is certainly a plan against us. Okay, this has got to be a good turn. Let's draw some cards. Alright, I think we're untapping the One Ring. Planar Nexus, that's what we were looking for. This is 4 mana. This can cast another One Ring if we find one. But we don't have one available right now. We could draw some more cards here, but how are we going to get enough mana? We don't have Grim Monolith anymore. I don't think Karn helps us here. We're not going to be able to Ensnaring Bridge our way out of this one. Okay, let's tap this for a bunch. Let's untap this One Ring. Draw some more cards. Yeah, we're dead here. Alright, so we get through on the play for game 3. So this particular build that doesn't have Basalt Monolith is also a little bit weaker to like the Blood Moon Chalice type plays like our opponent was doing. And the fact they shut off our Grim Monolith was pretty good too. Alright, we will go in like this. So we can still play Grim Monolith underneath the Disruptor Flute and activate it for mana, but it just costs so much more on the front side. Okay, yeah, this looks pretty busted. I haven't done the maths on it, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. So we go Saga, Petal, Grim Monolith. Tap this for Tezzeret. Untap this Grim Monolith. Tap this for Grim Monolith. Yeah, this feels pretty disgusting. We'll yield to this. This can just keep getting its things. Play this out. We'll get a Mystic Forge. So we have played our entire hand on turn 1. And we're not done yet. Let's get this Manifold Key. Pretty okay drawing a Planar Nexus. We can also ultimate the Tezzeret next turn, which is curious. We'll see what our opponent does. Maybe we get rid of this Planar Nexus because we have a lot of mana. We'll see what our opponent does. I don't believe they're running any sort of Meltdown style cards. But we effectively have 2 keys between the Tezzeret and the Manifold Key. Disruptor Flute. This probably names our Tezzeret. That seems like a reasonable thing to do there. Mox, we've got other stuff going on here. We have 1 mana, becomes 3 mana. So if we want 4 mana, we probably do want to draw this Nexus. It is a good land that turns on a bunch of other lands. If there's a land underneath it, it's kind of annoying though. There is a land underneath it. Right, Mystic Forge, we can exile top card of our library here. Another Mystic Forge, also not really what I wanted here. I will play out this Planar Nexus. We can activate this Urza's Saga and just make a big creature. Is that better than playing out a Mystic Forge? If we pay 1 mana here to untap the Monolith, we tap it for 3, and this. I think just a big construct is actually going to be better for us here. Broadside Bombardiers. Sure. I assume they're just going face here with anything they would fling. And they're not going to go after this Tezzeret, I don't think. Yeah, they're coming after our life total. That makes sense to me. Alright, we're going to do the backup plan of just doing Busted Urza Saga stuff. Do I want to draw this Mystic Forge? Not particularly. Karn, though. Yeah, we'll cast a Karn. Do I make a construct here? Do we need to make a construct? I don't think we do. I think we just float some mana. That's going to scare our opponent a little bit here. This gets us another Manifold Key. We probably want to get a Voltaic Key, so it's got different names. Yeah, that makes sense to me. So we want to untap this Mystic... sorry, not Mystic Forge. I untapped the wrong one there. Whoops. So we want to... guess we might as well have a little look at the top card. A Lotus Petal, I'll take that one. And then we will untap our Grim Monolith like I wanted to do, but I just misclicked. Cool. I think we're fine here, though. So this can just blow up their land, and we can attack them for 8. That seems like quite a high number. Right, they're going to bounce our little friend. Sure. That took them 2 cards to do that. This probably comes in at Karn now. We're actually in a situation where Ensnaring Bridge works for us as well. Because we're not doing One Ring stuff, we're doing Mystic Forge stuff, so our hand's going to be relatively empty. Do I want to draw this Ancient Tomb? I don't mind it. It attacks for 2. Okay, I guess we are... I don't hate this as a Saga at all. But I think we need to try and aim a little higher. A Pithing Needle. Okay, let's untap this. Actually, I think we just want to cast this Pithing Needle first. Broadside, please. Okay, so now we can start untapping our mana rocks. Alright, they've just had enough. I don't blame them. Like, we're going to win. Like, we played our entire hand on turn 1. What more do you want? They even had the answer for, like, kind of the payoff, but the payoff was also the Mystic Forge. So there's 2 things they had to deal with on turn 1, and they just couldn't get there. This deck is bananas, by the way. Let's go to round 2. Yeah, this one can work for us. Tezzeret can untap our Grim Monolith, so we've got a key sort of set up ready to go. The Grim Monolith into Tezzeret is just like the freest thing, because it just pays for itself by untapping the Monolith, and then you also start accruing extra value of just having this Planeswalker. Seems pretty strong. Sulphurous Springs. Our opponent is probably up to no good. Alright. I think we probably want to start accelerating some stuff out. What do we want to accelerate out? And what do we want to do it with? So we could play out the Saga and just race towards having keys, because keys is a lot of extra mana for us. Okay, I'm down for this. Alright, let's get this Lotus Petal down. Let's Grim Monolith. I thought they were going to counterspell that. That would have been scary. Tezzeret. So counter this does set us back because we're relying on the untap on this one. Hopefully our opponent's just reading it. But if they are a combo deck and they end up... we need to untap this, don't we? If they are a combo deck and they pitch 2 cards, that's not the worst for us. Let's go and get a Fleshraker down. Okay, so if they do some sort of Echo of Eons thing and don't kill us, we have a pretty solid board to capitalize on for next turn. We kind of need some more stuff to do, but this can go and find us Pithing Needle, it can go and find us Soulguide Lantern if we think that's a useful one. It can also tutor us just more keys for more mana. Or we can just untap it. Like, untapping is more immediate mana, whereas if we minus it, then it's just going to be gaining us mana every single turn on top of the untapping. Alright, 3 mana. Hull Breacher. Yep. Have you got it? Looks like they got it. Okay. Not particularly a play experience I enjoy. See, people moan about Bowmasters, but Bowmasters gives you the choice, right? You can play card draw into a Bowmasters. This doesn't give you a choice. I think the design on this is just much worse than Bowmasters. Now, Bowmasters is objectively more powerful than this, but I just am speaking about my design preferences. Okay, I think our opponent's going to be doing a few more spells here, but what I find quite often with these Hull Breacher decks is they spin a bunch of times, but they don't actually win the game from it. Like, actually closing the game can be a little bit difficult for them sometimes. And it doesn't take much for us to pop off. And we do have a key in play in a couple of turns. Alright, 4 mana. A Karn. That's probably game, though. Do I want to continue playing this game? Doesn't feel like I do. Alright, we can call that a day. Let's go to the sideboard. Their deck doesn't look like it functions without a graveyard. So let's have this in. I think everything else here is fine. We probably want the Dismembers, really, don't we? Saga Lantern not going to cut it here. We definitely want the Pithing Needle because you've seen Karn. That can bust us up a little bit. This can kill their guys. It's tricky sideboarding. This is a lot of cards to be boarding in with a deck like ours. Like, we can trim around the edges a little bit. I don't think we can... How many keys do we have? I think we can cut any keys. We can probably cut a Tezzeret. I'm sorry. You've already been cool, though. We don't need 2 Pithing Needles, right, do we? Take one of those out. What has that given us? 3 Leylines, but we definitely want the Dismembers, though. Cozilec's command is a little bit slow, potentially. Maybe the Dismembers are better than the Leylines as well. So 2 and 2 at the moment. I could trim a Kozilek for a 3rd Leyline. Or I could just roll with 2 Leylines. Like, if we have it in our opening draw, it's fine. Like, it's not the be-all and end-all here. I think we'll try it like this. This way we're not going to get jammed up by a bunch of Leylines. I'm sure people in the comments will be like, why you only got 2 Leylines? What am I doing here? Losing slowly. Let's mulligan this one. Alright, this is not going to die to the little combo they have. And then we can try and just assemble some haymakers. This seems acceptable. Do we keep the Dismembers or the lands? Like, we're going to get rid of 1 card here. I don't know what card it should be, though. It's either the Planar Nexus or the Dismember. Considering we're trying to get up to playing these things, I think it should just be the Dismember. We can stop their first Hull Breacher, and then hopefully that'll be enough. Our opponent's mulligans a little bit as well. So I believe we play out the Planar Nexus. This gives us the highest upside to just draw a Urza's Tower and just go next turn. Now, whether or not we do that into the blue deck and just go will obviously depend on a bunch of things, like how much our opponent puts to the board this turn, how many cards they got left in their hand. If we draw more gas, then we can just keep sending... Obviously, if we draw the tower, we're not going to be drawing more gas, are we? But like for subsequent turns, if we just keep drawing lots of haymakers, then we just want to keep slamming them. Hydroelectric Laboratoire. Okay. And nothing from our opponent there. A Mystic Forge, yeah. So we are just in assembling a bunch of bangers town. But we kind of have to keep this Dismember up so we don't just randomly get bopped by this Hull Breacher. A Lion's Eye Diamond. Chromox. Are we going to see an attempt this turn? Because all that does is just wheel us into a fresh 7. Because we can kill their thing, because they would have to discard their hand to use a Lion's Eye Diamond. Doesn't feel like they're going for it, does it? We're just going to stare at one another. I can live with that. So let's play this Planar Nexus. Let's get this Grim Monolith down. How do you feel about this one, opponent? Alright, we can tap this for a Tezzeret. I want to keep the 1 mana up. It feels like our opponent's going to make an attempt here. Let's untap this. Unfortunately, I am just going to pass. Here comes old Breachy Boy. Do I wait for them to crack the LED? Like, if they have Force of Will here, then they won't have anything to go with their Hull Breacher anyway. Interesting. But what if they have Force of Negation? And they counter this. Alright, I think we just pass. I don't know how many, like, counter spells that cost mana they're going to play when their whole point is just to keep gassing their hand back up. So they probably attack the Tezzeret. I think we just take it. It still does mostly what we want it to do. It'll just be a key that sometimes pops in ultimates. A Day's Undoing. Okay, let's try and kill this. We can play around soft permission. Alright, so we're just going to both get a new hand. And then it's our turn. Okay. Manifold Key. So I think we play... We want to get this Mystic Forge into play. I guess we're probably just playing out the 2 keys first. This will turn on our workshop. Okay, would I like a huge amount of mana right now? Or would I like to start working towards... I don't think this game is about Saga constructs, is it? Let's play this workshop. Okay, so these tap for a lot of land each. So I guess we'd go for the Mystic Forge. I'd be amazed if this resolved. But if it does resolve, then we get to start popping here. Okay, let's take this Tezzeret off the top. We can cast this, right? You may cast artifact and colorless spells. So this is kind of free. So we could tap this, and then we could untap our Grim Monolith here. And then just cast this off the top, and then we don't have to use our Mystic Forge activation. We'll keep the new one. We'll tap this, get rid of the top card of our library. And Dismember. Like, it's not nothing, but it's not exactly where I want to be. We can minus this and go and get a key rather than untapping something. I think we have plenty of mana, don't we? Right, let's go and... This is going to shuffle the top of our library as well, so we might be able to keep going here. I don't think Pithing Needle helps here. I think we just want to go and get another key. We'll get one with a different name, just in case. Alright, let's untap this Mystic Forge. Let's remove the top card. A Leyline in the Void. It's not very exciting. Let's go for a Grim Monolith. And we may as well tap this Grim Monolith. Let's get another... Actually, I suppose at this point we should probably just untap the Forge and just have another look at the top. A Lotus Petal, sure. I'll play it off the top. Another Ancient Tomb. It's not the one, is it? Okay, so let's play out this Grim Monolith. Our Tezzeret's not going to be a million miles away from popping either, because we're going to be putting a bunch of counters on it. Not that the ultimate's particularly strong. It's very okay. Alright, I'll play out this Lotus Petal. I think we will use the key on our Mystic Forge. Urza's Tower. Okay, I guess we're not doing anything else. That's probably the end of that turn. We don't have enough floating mana to untap the Monolith unless we sacrifice a Lotus Petal. That doesn't feel amazing. Our opponent's got a full grip to try and win the game with now. We're just kind of windmilling at one another until somebody loses. I wonder if they've got Hurkyl's Recall. That could be pretty good. Just Hurkyl's Recall me and then Days Undoing. So next turn, this Urza Tower is going to give us 3, 4, 5 mana from just one land. That's pretty good. Now, mana isn't really the bottleneck here. But we have 4 untaps with the Forge. They're playing a Saga, so maybe they're settling in for a slightly longer game now, which would do well for us because we've got this card advantage engine. But maybe they just gain us down because this is the land they have. So, Hydroelectric Specimen underneath the Chrome Mox. 4 mana. Karn the Great Creator. Okay. Suffice to say, the Karn is pretty good. We can still cast cards off the top with our Mystic Forge, so we can still kill our opponent with a Fleshraker, Kozilek's Command style play. They can blow up our Lotus Petal, but that doesn't really matter. I wonder if they've got something good to tutor for. We don't get to reload the top of our library either, because we don't get to tap the Mystic Forge, so we are kind of just at the whims of the top of our deck here. If we had played the Urza Saga last turn, maybe we end up in a better spot. Are they just going to go and... No, they don't have enough to put the Lattice in play. Liquimetal Coating. Sure. That cost them an LED. So they're going to probably stop our Tezzeret from doing anything this turn. Yep. Here's an artifact. Top card of our library is a land. So that means we're playing out the Urza Saga, so we at least have the chance of getting something. So this means they have to Liquimetal Coating 2 of our permanents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If they draw a land, they just Lattice lock us and we are done for. Been a long time since I played against Karn Echoes. It crops up every now and then. Not really a fan, but I also can't complain because we're playing Mystic Forge. So we're kind of doing a similar thing to their deck, but better. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to beat them. But I think on the whole, Karn Forge is one of the very best decks. And the Karn Echoes deck is a little bit fringe, especially in a world where Witchbone Masters and friends exist. Alright, they're going for blowing up my Saga, which means we're going to have access to our Tezzeret this turn. So if we can find an artifact on top, we might be able to pop the emblem, and that would just give us constant pressure. It can also get us out of a Karn lock. But we do need the top card of our library after this to be an artifact. It is not, in fact, an artifact. Okay. This is better than an Urza Tower for us. We may as well play it. We have a minus here. We could minus and search for Pithing Needle. Right, let's play some cards off the top while we can. Game's gone weird. Right, Pithing Needle. We'll name Karn the Great Creator. That's the only thing our opponent has going on. So they're going to make an Urza Saga construct. So that is another thing they have going on, to be fair. Do I need to stop their Karn doing its thing? Or do I need to stop this Urza Saga making another guy? I think we need to stop the Karn, even though we're running our own. It's just too easy for our opponent to lock us out. We'll play this Workshop. It's worth many, many manas. Like, if we just find a Kozilek's Command on the top, then we're absolutely laughing. Right, they're making a guy. Do they have the boots of going fast? Because that will kill us this turn. It's a Pithing Needle. They're going to name our Tezzeret. Are they still going to attack the Tezzeret? We can draw the one ring. It buys a turn. They're going for the face. I guess that makes some amount of sense. Top of our deck. Please be good. It's been lands all this time. Sure, they're reducing our lands a little bit, but we got plenty of mana. It's another land. We're dead. Alright, we did not make out of that one. Unfortunate, but we've got 3 more rounds to play, so let's go. This hand is kind of slow, but has some good stuff going on. I think I'm going to mulligan this for something a bit more powerful. Plenty of power, but no mana to speak of. Alright, I'll keep this one. So we don't need 2 Tezzerets. We don't need Solgar Lantern. I think our opponent is on Mystic Forge as well. I think they play that a fair bit. Maybe we shouldn't have kept this one. We only have 1 land. Am I supposed to keep this Solgar Lantern to give us the Metal Craft? How likely am I to draw another artifact? I guess we're not going to have Metal Craft anyway. Alright, we need to draw a land off the top here. I think our opponent is going to win this one with this hand. Maybe we're supposed to get a 4 here. But if we draw a land, then all of a sudden our hand is great and we get to dump it out and then all is right in the world. So I think the upside of what we can do here is really strong. But I do believe this is going to be a mirror match. Our opponent, I've noticed their name appearing next to this deck a little bit when I look through results. Yep, their opener was better than ours. And it's still going. If they've got another artifact they can dump out, they can turn on the Mox Opal as well. Manifold Key, yep. So now they can untap the Grim Monolith. Our opponent's hand was certainly better than ours. Alright, we're not beating that Karn. Okay. To the sideboard. I don't want this Soul Guide Lantern. Do I want any of these cards? Not especially. I guess we can take a Dismember to try and fight over their little Fleshrakers. But I don't really think that's what this game is about. We're just on the play. And hopefully that's good enough. Alright. Can't say I have a lot of reps in the old mirror of the Karn Forge deck. I don't think our hand was particularly good, but I also don't think it mattered because our opponent basically had the turn 1 there. So, what do we have this time around? This is kind of slow. If our opponent's going to keep a hand that's going to donk us like it did just now, we need something a little bit stronger. Okay, it's a little bit mana heavy. A little bit mana heavy for sure. I'll put back a tower, because if we draw a Planar Nexus, then this is going to be the same as a tower anyway. Or we can get rid of this Ancient Tomb. No, we want to keep the Ancient Tomb in case we draw a 4-drop for turn 2. Alright, again, we're kind of relying on top of our deck. Let's go for Monolith into Fleshraker and pass it over. If we draw on a 1 ring, it's obviously the best thing we can draw. If we draw a Karn, actually Karn might even be better than 1 ring here because it shuts up so much of the deck. Alright, they brought in Dismembers, makes sense. A Grim Monolith, you say? Okay, I guess I'll play a Grim Monolith. So the highest upside of land for us to play is the Urza's Tower here. We have a lot of mana. We might be representing a Kozilek's Command to our opponent. But we can only do it for 2, so we won't kill any of their creatures. Alright, they have 4 mana on turn 2. This is a Grim Monolith, so it's 5 mana now. 6 mana because of this Grim Monolith. And the 1 ring. Alright, so we need to find a Karn pretty sharpish. Manifold Key, yep. I reckon they're probably just drawing more cards with the One Ring. It's rarely the wrong thing to do. Apologies if you can hear rain in the background. It is raining quite profusely right now. So this doesn't tap for additional mana. This does. I don't think things are getting better for us. We need to make a big play now. Alright, K Command. Show me what you got. It's not great. Tezzeret can tutor for the for Pithing Needle. I think we can't really afford to have these lands. And if we're tutoring with the Tezzeret, it doesn't really matter what we do with anything else, does it? Let's get Pithing Needle. Let's put this on the One Ring. Alright. So we did something. We've got a key effect, so we can start untapping our monoliths. We need a payoff. Our Colourless Command didn't find us the Karn I would have liked to have found. A Fleshraker. Are we dead this turn? It's possible. Ancient Tomb can certainly help with that. A Grim Monolith. Sure, we can just F6 because we haven't got anything here and our opponent knows it. They're not going to play around us, holding priority and think, oh, maybe they've got it. They almost certainly know the deck better than we do as well. Alright. They've got a Mystic Forge out, so they've got a card of Arch Engine that doesn't care about this Pithing Needle. But the thing is, if they don't kill us, there is a chance that we can send it back and kill them. Because this deck can do some really disgusting things. Now, we can't rely on the One Ring to do those disgusting things, but we could just have a really good Mystic Forge turn and just win the game. Kozilek's Command for 6. So it's going to make 6 little guys. Each of these is going to ping us for 1. That's going to put us to 1 life. So all they need is 1 spell they can cast with all of these things. I think that is game. Okay, our opponent had much better openers than we did. They kept 7, we didn't. Fair enough. Our opponent's also significantly better on this deck than we are because they play it all the time. On to round 4. For free, fast and secure worldwide shipping on high-end singles, classic products and full sets, check out 3-for-1 Trading. Whether it's the legacy or pre-modern that I play on this channel, or even vintage and old school, they've got you covered. Find them through the link in the description of this video and use my code COW3 for free worldwide shipping on your first order over $500 or euros. We've got a turn 1 Tezzeret, but this Tezzeret hasn't been that exciting on its own. It kind of needs to find some more gas. I think I am going to keep it. I'm probably running into 5. Do we just go and get a Soul Guide Lantern with this guy? Maybe. I guess they're on the play, so maybe we don't even get a turn. Maybe we don't get a turn, but maybe we do. Okay. Dark Ritual. Are we still dead? Are we dead? Feels like we're dead. A Balustrade Spy. Sure. We'll have a look at their deck list to see if there's anything interesting, knowing full well there's not going to be anything interesting, but we should at least do our due diligence to see what's going on in there. Okay. Elvish Spirit Guys, Disciple of Freyalise. Yep, pretty much stock. Cool. I know we're not playing the most interactive deck in the world over here, so we can't really complain. Okay, Leylines in. What comes out? Pithing Needle is kind of marginal here. Maybe we take one of those out. Tezzeret is kind of slow. We do need the Fleshrakers, the Forges, and all the Karn shuts off their mana. Maybe it's like 1k command here. Okay, here we go. So we should be able to ignore their like pivot plans quite well. Like Karn will shut down the Char-Vulture, and we're not losing the game to creatures. Like I guess we keep our turn 1 Graveyard Hate hand, and then it's a case of are we playing out the Saga to work towards a Pithing Needle / other piece of Graveyard Hate, or are we just playing out like Planar Nexus so we maybe get to draw something a bit more powerful for next turn. So we could Tezzeret and then tutor that way. So we're probably trying to win with Urza Saga constructs for the most part here. Just the old Poxwalkers as a beatdown creature. If that's your plan, opponent, I think we're okay. An Urza's Saga. Let's play this out. I will play out my 2 artifacts. Actually, I'll play out 1... No, we do play them both out. I don't think I'm playing out Tezzeret here. I think we're just on the Urza's Saga beats, and then maybe we'll do something with Tezzeret later on. They could hit us with a Force of Vigor, but if they were doing that, they probably wouldn't be playing out this Poxwalker because they'd save their mana for their combo turn. So I'm on the assumption they don't have the disruption for the Leyline. They did not attack with their Poxwalkers. And they scooped it up. Okay. Guess we go back in. I think I will take another Pithing Needle on the draw. And we'll just get rid of a Tezzeret. We still have the other Pithing Needle in the board that we can reach for. But this way we've just got 2 answers for Charbouch, which they're going to be more on now they've seen the Leyline. We have the Graveyard Hate, but our deck doesn't actually play the game here. Are we supposed to keep this? Like, I think we have to. We can't... Because if we mulligan and don't hit a Leyline, that's going to be real bad. Thanks, I hate it. It's just the nature of what has to happen sometimes here. But, you know, if we draw an Ancient Tomb, then we're absolutely fine here. If we draw another land, then we have to draw a follow-up land as well. Now, this might not be good enough, but again, our opponent kills us on turn 1 quite often. So we can't afford to not have a Leyline, and we also can't afford to mulligan and miss it when we already have one in hand. We got lots of bangers. They named Fairy Macabre. No Macabres over here. A Lotus Petal, you say? Okay. I guess we play it out to dodge hand disruption on it. I'm not going to play out the Manifold Key. We just need 1 mana source, and then we get to go Grim Monolith, Manifold Key, untap it, play some other stuff, win the game, do all the fun things. So we have a plan. Oh, a tapped land. I like to see that. Can we draw a land? Any land, please. No land. But if we draw a land, we pop off even harder now. Oh dear, oh dear. Duress. We have 2 monoliths, so I don't mind. They might just take the key here, so we only get 1 shot of mana from monolith. That might be the best play here. Although we just play the Tezzeret, right? And that does the same thing. So, yeah. A lot of redundancy. We have 2 monoliths. We have key and thing. Okay, they've taken the command. That is Graveyard Hate, so I can understand maybe that one. And like I said, we have redundancy. Alright, found a land. Here we go. There's also a land that turns into a Manifold Key later on. So we're going to get our Tezzeret in. I'd like to untap this Grim Monolith. I would like to... We're playing with Fleshraker, or we're just playing out... I guess we just play out Monolith into One Ring. That seems like a good use of our resources here. Do I want to play out this key right now? I don't think we have to. I think I'm just going to play out the ring this turn so that we have more stuff we play into Fleshraker, so we're more likely to win the game quicker. Draw a card. It's another key. So next turn we can Tezzeret, untap our Grim Monolith, play Fleshraker, play key, get a token, untap the Monolith, play a key, untap the One Ring, draw some more cards. Just keep it going. Feed the Swarm. Yep, that's pretty good. Are we dead this turn? No. Okay, so we get to tutor with the Tezzeret. That's good news. Let's get that Soulguide Lantern going. Draw some cards. Okay, an Ancient Tomb, you say. So we probably have to minus this to go and get Graveyard Hate. And then we need to Grim Monolith here. And then we tap this for the Fleshraker. And then we play the key out. This gives us a trigger. And then we can use the mana from this to make the Soulguide Lantern, which will refresh itself. If we tap and they have a way of blowing up our artifact, then it can mess us up. I guess we're kind of messed up regardless then, aren't we? Okay. So now we can untap this. Do we even need to untap a Grim Monolith here? I don't think we do we? Let's just play this Manifold Key first. We untap the One Ring. Draw some cards. Lotus Petal, don't mind if I do. Now we get to do Mystic Forge things. Untap this. Oh, we need to untap the Grim Monolith, I think, here. Let's Mystic Forge down. Do I want to draw this land? No, we might as well exile it now in case we find some zeros. A Pithing Needle, we might as well play this on Goblin Charboucher. Our Tezzeret is ready to pop, but the ultimate isn't great here. But being able to shoot it for stuff and untap things, that is great. I think we have this one relatively locked down, but it doesn't take much for our opponent to suddenly burst out of this and kill us. Like, they might have a way of winning through the Soulguide Lantern, and we're going to see what that way might be. 4 mana. Balustrade Spy. Targeting themselves. Putting their whole deck into their graveyard. We are going to Saga Lantern once the triggers from the Narcomoebas appear. They can Memory's Journey if they want to. They only got one thing coming through, but... Alright, exile each opponent's graveyard, please. So they can probably Memory's Journey some cards back, but that's going to give us one more turn in theory. And then that one extra turn we have should be the end of the game. Because they're only on 7. Alright, Memory's Journey, they're getting back a Poxwalkers, that's fine. What are they targeting? Thassa's Oracle and 2 Lotus Petals. Okay, do they have a way of drawing those cards right now? Probably not. And then we just need to kill them this turn. How hard could it be? We have a Kozilek's Command on top, so very easy is the answer to that one. Alright, we'll draw some cards in this one ring as well. Maybe we can power out a little bit more mana. Alright, we just win the game because our opponent's had enough. Alright, we managed to get that one. We are certainly one of the bad guys, but this is more of a bad guy, so I guess we're the good guys? Alright, 4 rounds down, we are 2-2, so positive record is what we're playing for. And we did lose it to a mirror match, so, you know, you're seeing a lot of Mystic Forge winning today. What do we think about this opener? No, I think we can do some more powerful stuff. Yeah, this is powerful, isn't it? So, I guess we don't need this Pithing Needle. I'll take the extra mana. Alright, how does our opponent feel about a turn 1 Karn the Great Creator? Let's play as Lotus Petal so we can play around. I don't know what we're playing around at that point. Thinking about it. It's not as if they can daze us. Can I Karn, please? Yes, I can. Minus the Karn. Do we get a Liquimetal Coating here? Or do we just get a card advantage engine? I just get Coating, it's fine. Misty Rainforest. Do they have a Lightning Bolt here? No, a Bite. They're going to take this. They're going to take our Liquimetal Coating. That is the risk of doing this, but we can activate this next turn. Okay, so if we minus this, we can go and get a Mystic Forge. Jam that into play. A Glaring Fleshraker. Sure. That is a pretty reasonable card to draw. Especially if we can string out some stuff on top of it. Our opponent could be in like the Cradle Control ballpark. That's kind of the vibes I'm getting. Okay, that's what we're playing against. I wonder how many of the new cards are in our opponent's deck. I've seen some builds. I don't really want this card on top of my library, so let's get rid of it first. Tezzeret. Okay, I will cast this Tezzeret. It's basically free. Then we can untap this Grim Monolith. We can tap this for a Fleshraker. We can plus this with no targets. Now they have 2 planeswalkers they have to contend with. That's not too bad. Right, they're trying to kill our Karn. I think I can let that go. I think the Fleshraker is better for us than the Karn. Alright. They got an Endurance coming in here. This is they can sacrifice the Endurance. So this is going to grow their guy, but it's already killing the Karn, so I'm not really sure why they need to do this. Unless I'm missing something. Just a guy. Like, they were already killing it, and we weren't blocking. Very weird timing on that one. It's not like they're going to natural order now. Okay. Like, again, they didn't need to do it in this order. But they're going to grist and get rid of our Tezzeret Cruel Captain, I suspect. They might get rid of the Fleshraker. Who are you targeting? Oh, they are getting rid of the Fleshraker. Alright, Tezzeret. It's your time to shine. Karn the Great Creator. That's pretty good, isn't it? We can't play lands off the top with this. Before anyone mentions that. Alright, let's get this Karn in first. And then we'll take the top card of our library off. Another Karn. That's not really where I want to be here, is it? What are we doing with this Karn? We can untap this Grim Monolith. Play this land. Minus this Karn. Go and get Ensnaring Bridge and sit behind it. Enter Coward Mode. We can shuffle away this Karn in our upkeep next turn. Depending on what I do with this Karn. We can also Lattice lock our opponent next turn, right? Keen-Eyed Curator. Sure. And a Hierarch. Okay, so we can Lattice lock our opponent next turn. We don't require... So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have the Tezzeret. So let's let's get rid of this Karn and our upkeep. Another Tezzeret. Okay, so this is popping up. Plays Lotus Petal. So the Noble Hierarch can attack into our Karn, which is something to be aware of. But I think we're just going to play some stuff off the top and see how we go. Mystic Forge, you already have one of those, so not the best. So we can make a big guy to block the Hierarch with. But we don't get to Lattice lock if we do that. So this is probably going to be untap Grim Monolith. And then we can untap this Grim Monolith again. So this is a free Tezzeret. We may as well play the free Tezzeret. Just keep our hand looking pretty empty. I will keep this new one. This will untap the Grim Monolith. We will minus this Karn. Yes. Go and get Lattice. Cast the Lattice. And we have a big blocker for their Noble Hierarch. I believe that is game. Like, we will find some way of winning the game with the pieces we have. And our opponent doesn't get to play Magic the Gathering anymore. They can activate this White of the Reliquary. That's the one thing they can do right now. Not sure what they can have that helps here. The Talongate's land doesn't phase out Planeswalkers, if I remember correctly. So they can't phase out our Karn for a turn. It's an Urza Saga. So this can tutor them a 1-drop. So it can tutor them a Pithing Needle in a few turns. You attack with that Noble Hierarch? Probably not. Let's make a guy. Alright, they've had enough. Okay, I think we want some Dismembers, and I think that is it. I don't think I want the Soul Guide Lantern here. It does have some text, but I don't really think that's what this game is mainly about. And then we probably need to cut one thing. It should probably just be the Tezzeret. Like, normally I would cut a key, but we've already cut keys to put Tezzerets in. So I think this is where we're at. Yeah, we are down to clown with this. This is the turn 2 Mystic Forge. We're probably going to get Thoughtseized out of our hand, but I can live with that. We've got sort of, like, Fleshraker isn't like a big payoff. This is like the win condition. It's not necessarily like the payoff, but it can do a lot of work for us. Alright, so we've got Once Upon a Time going. Obviously, the Mystic Forge is very much one of the payoffs we're working towards, because this can just allow us to play our whole deck. More or less, anyway. A Noble Hierarch. If this is what you're playing on turn 1, that's fine by me, I think. So Collector Roof is something that we have to care about, but we already have an answer for that ready to go. I believe we play out this Planar Nexus. And I will play out... No, I won't play out Lotus Petal, because I want to have access to Fleshraker, ping, and a token, because this is 2 mana in the face of Fleshraker. Are you going to Thoughtseize us? They are. Okay, you can take my answer to your Collector Roof, or you can take the payoff. Like, we're actually pretty resilient to Collector Roof here, because Mystic Forge doesn't actually require us to tap artifacts. But a lot of our deck gets worse with the Collector Roof in play, so even the artifacts we're playing off the top with the Mystic Forge don't get it done. But the combo of Mystic Forge and Fleshraker is usually good enough to beat a Collector Oof. This could just be the turn we draw the One Ring, and then our opponent is very sad. Right, took the Fleshraker. They got a Windswept Teeth. Are we getting attacked for 1? Or they got something mysterious they're holding back. So we're getting attacked for 1. This is probably just going to be a Surveil land in our opponent's end step. So this turn we play out the Tower. We play out the Forge. Fleshraker on top. Pretty happy to see that one. I don't think we need to play out the Lotus Petal. I think we can just pass and just get the extra procs off of this Fleshraker next turn. The more mana we have, the easier it is to play cards off the top. So this is going to be a Underground Mortuary, I suspect. Oh no, it's a Dryad Arbor. Are we going to see a Natural Order line? Or is it just Cradle to make their life a bit easier with mana? Either a Noble Hierarch. It's got to be a Cradle, surely. These decks don't always run Natural Order. It's kind of a thing that is sort of in and out of the deck. There's the Cradle. 3 mana. 4 mana. Is this just a Green Sun? It is a green sun where X equals 3. What does that mean for us? What is the 3-drop they're getting? They might not be getting 3-drop. They might just put a bunch of mana into it to confuse us. It's a Grist. Okay. That is fine. We're going to get beaten down with this Dried Arbor. Yeah. It's not 0 damage, that's for sure. The One Ring as well. Okay. So we cast this guy for 3 mana. Play this out, get trigger. Do we have... We don't have Metalcraft, so these aren't actually that good right at this moment in time. So we want to play out this Ancient Tomb. Then we cast this off the top. 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine. Put some more cards. Another Fleshraker. Okay, our next turn is going to be good. Now, they can Grist and kill our Fleshraker. But if that's all they're doing, which is likely to be all they're doing in the face of our One Ring, we've got the protections, they can't attack us. I think we're doing okay. Yeah, goodbye Fleshraker. Wasteland. They can take out our Planar Nexus here. That's pretty good. We have Metalcraft though, so these Urza's Workshops are going to do a little bit of lifting. What does this even name? Mystic Forge because it's on board, or do you name the one? I know you named the One Ring. Sorry, what we're talking about. It was tapped, and my brain just ignored that we had it. So this is going to name the One Ring. That's a sensible thing to do. We do still have Mystic Forge running. Okay. Do we minus this? Do we get rid of this Planar Nexus? Planar Nexus is good for next turn, but I don't think we need it right now. Tezzeret. That's a pretty interesting one, isn't it? So the Urza Workshop is probably step 1 here, isn't it? And cast this off the top of our library. We'll keep the Spawn around. Yeah, I think we keep the Spawn around because the Spawn can block if we need it to. Another One Ring. Can we get this One Ring going? We have 1 mana, 2 mana. Don't have anything that can get mana off of this Tezzeret. We could search our library for a 1-drop. We could get a Pithing Needle and shut down this Grist. That's pretty good. I think we'll do that. Pithing Needle. Let's get this Pithing Needle in. Grist the Hunger Tide. Yep, our Tezzeret grows. And sure, we do have this One Ring burning us down, but our opponent is Hellbent. They just have mana dorks here. So if their top decks aren't great, then we should power through using this Mystic Forge. That is an Ignoble Hierarch. Alright, attacking him with this. We will be chump blocking with one of our spawns. Oh, they're going after Tezzeret. We didn't actually have to block there. But do we want to bin off this workshop? I think we do. Okay, Karn is pretty excellent. So we get this down. How much are these tapping for? Loads, isn't it? 3 each. We'll get Karn in. What are we going to get with Karn here? Oh, our opponent's just had enough, I think. Yeah. Okay, we got the concession and we finished with a positive record. The things we lost to a sort of mono-blue Karn deck, which is trying to power out Karn as early as turn 1, which is obviously going to be very detrimental to our game plan. And we lost to a Karn Forge player. So playing the mirror, they're better at playing the deck because they play it more often than us, and they also had better draws. So, pretty reasonable. Let's talk about the list. So, the big thing here is Tezzeret. This is what we really need to discuss because we know what Mystic Forge as a deck does. We don't really need to talk about it. I think I made a video with it a week or 2 ago as well that you can check out. I am not convinced that I want 4 Tezzerets in my deck. That is my first point here. The fact that we can shoot it for stuff is good, and that did come up a fair bit. But being a key that actually costs 3 mana, instead of being 2 mana where you can pay 1 and then pay 1 the next turn, is huge, right? So we were definitely in situations where this was not really getting us where we needed to go. But like having the Grim Monolith do its thing is good, but the -7 on this is just not really an ability. The only time that it may have come up for us is if our opponent could have Karn locked us, and then we could have had this as a way of just turning all of our artifacts into creatures that can then pressure the Karn. That was basically the only time that I thought this ultimate was going to be a useful thing. Making more mana is totally fine here. Like, you know, untapping our Monolith, but we only have Monoliths. We don't have a Basalt Monolith because we've had to trim the Basalt Monolith to get the Tezzeret in. So the things that this wants to see in play are less frequent, but being able to go and fetch a Key, a Needle, or a Soulguide Lantern was certainly not without merit. I think this card probably deserves a spot in this deck, but I don't think it should be a 4-of in the deck. I do like that you can cast it on turn 1 off of Grim Monolith, then your opponent's got something to think about, whilst you're also just kind of getting the spell for free, so it does synergize nicely with Grim Monolith. But the thing about this deck, when it has Grim Monolith hands, they're always good anyway, right? Grim Monolith is the card that actually makes this deck really good in my opinion. Like, the One Ring is a completely busted Magic Gathering card, for sure. But the fact that the Grim Monolith just is the core engine of this deck with all the keys and stuff, I think we don't necessarily need to make Grim Monolith better, which is what Tezzeret does. I think we need to just have more Grim Monoliths. So maybe the Basalt Monolith is better than one of these. Like, Basalt Monolith is not great, but if we're untapping stuff, it does become pretty useful still. And it's another way of getting colourless mana under a Blood Moon, which almost became very relevant today. Yeah, not really much more to say about this. Just get rid of some of these Tezzerets. I think 2 is probably a good number. Maybe you want more. I'm not an expert with this deck, but it just did feel like we had too many Tezzerets in the deck. 4 was 100% the wrong number, but I don't know what the correct number is. So you probably want to start cutting them and testing it and seeing. I think the builds I'm seeing at the moment are about 2 to 3. I obviously took the top 8 challenge build rather than one of the league builds, but I think 2 to 3 is probably where this ends up being. I would imagine more likely 2 than 3. I have also seen people playing this alongside Ugin, so just having more planeswalker action going on. But I'm not necessarily sure this deck needs Ugin. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this one, and we got to see Tezzeret Cruel Captain in action. This is obviously something to keep your eye on. It's going to be appearing in Legacy decks for a while, I would imagine. Basically this Legacy deck. I'm not really sure other Legacy decks want to play this, but I'll be pleasantly surprised if they do. Alright, please remember to like and subscribe. It does help the channel out. A lot of you lovely watchers out there aren't subscribed, so why not hit that subscribe button and help me out. Okay, goodbye. If you'd like to support me in the channel, please check out my Patreon. It has a free guide to budget turbo depths as well as 3 tiers of support. A low cost one that enters you into my monthly raffle for a free donation deck on the channel, a mid-tier subscription that gives you access to my detailed turbo depths guide that is updated every month as well as regular articles, and lastly the higher tier gives you all of the above as well as a monthly donation deck for my channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel this way, please check out the link in the description.